From the eastern Mediterranean to the northwest Atlantic, the Norse Vikings from modern-day Norway and western Sweden traveled far and wide during the Viking Age.
It's a fascinating story, a journey of survival. Thousands of miles over thousands of years led to this amazing man. From a hunter to a king, let me tell you how it all began. We are his sons. We are one. We are his sons. We are from the dawn of history to the Viking Age. His sons sail open seas to lands unknown. Fierce warriors in battle as the legends go. From a hunter to a king, let me tell you how it all began. We are his sons.
The famous Norwegian king and Viking Harald Hardrada, prior to dying on an English battlefield and ending the Viking Age, would have spent years amongst the Kievan Rus and even became the chief of the Varangian Guard in Constantinople. In the 2020 study, Population Genomics of the Viking World, there was more evidence of this Norse influence amongst the Kievan Rus, with ancient DNA sample Shestovitsa 539 in the family tree DNA database, also known as VK539, from the study. To quote the supplemental information from the study, quote, "The village of Shestovitsa on the right bank of the Desna River, the tributary of the Dnieper River, 12 kilometers southwest from the city of Chernigov," end quote. In the following map of Varangian trade routes, you can see the location of the city of Chernigov, not too far from the major city of Kiev and the Dnieper River. Recently, a new preprint was released titled "Steppe Ancestry in Western Eurasia and the Spread of the Germanic Languages." In the supplemental information from the preprint, ancient DNA samples from past studies, such as VK539, were assigned to autosomal genetic clusters. As you can see in the following image, he was assigned to the North Scandinavian cluster, which can be associated with the Norse. So as you can see with the examples of Harald Hardrada and this unnamed ancient DNA sample, we can't just assume that the Kievan Rus and the Varangians were all Swedish Vikings with East Scandinavian ancestry. Some of them were Norse as well. The next Norse ancient DNA sample I want to talk about comes surprisingly from the 2022 study, The Anglo-Saxon Migration and the Formation of the Early English Gene Pool. He was discovered in the city of Groningen in the northern Netherlands. I say surprisingly because Frisia and the northern Netherlands was primarily settled by South Scandinavian peoples, such as the Anglo-Saxons and the Danes. The ancient DNA sample is labeled Groningen 21 in the family tree DNA database. In the actual study, he is listed as GRO021 and V1254. As you can see in the following image, he also was assigned to the North Scandinavian autosomal DNA cluster. To quote the supplemental information from the 2022 study in regards to the location of Groningen, quote, "There is archaeological evidence for a marketplace since the 11th or 12th century, but possibly even earlier. This indicates the economic importance of Groningen for the area," end quote. To further quote the supplemental information in regards to strontium and oxygen isotope analysis of the ancient DNA samples, quote, "6 individuals were likely migrants based on their values," end quote. And as you can see, Mr. V1254, also known as Groningen 21, was one of those 6 likely migrants with origins elsewhere. So perhaps Mr. Groningen 21 was a Norse trader with original origins in modern-day Norway, doing business in the area. The Norse are primarily known for raiding, trading, and settling westward from modern-day Norway and western Sweden, reaching as far as North America. And in the 2020 study, ancient DNA samples from Greenland were analyzed. Ancient DNA sample labeled Greenland 186 in the family tree DNA database and VK 186 in the study was especially interesting. He lived sometime between 900 and 1200 CE. He was discovered in the eastern settlement of Greenland, and he is tested positive for the downstream subclade IY79817, which dates to approximately 1026 CE according to family tree DNA age estimates, so right around the time when he's theorized to have lived. And what's especially cool about this subclade is it only has 4 modern testers in the database, and all 4 of them claim Norway for their earliest known patrilineal country of origin, showing this Norse connection between Norway and Greenland. It's no surprise that he as well was assigned to the North Scandinavian autosomal cluster. The Norse would continue exploring westward into North America, and the famous Leif Erikson most likely created a settlement at Lonso Meadow in modern-day Newfoundland. Unfortunately, though, as far as I'm aware, no ancient DNA samples have ever been discovered at Lonso Meadow, even though this site is associated with the Norse. The Norse might have even continued to explore unknown lands even farther than modern-day Newfoundland, possibly down the eastern seaboard of the United States or inland with the St. Lawrence River. Thanks for watching.